unconditional love is a lie. As a matter of fact, I think even love is a lie itself. The whole concept of love is a lie in itself. We have been sold this illusion of love by the media, TV stations, movies, the Bible, like our whole society. Love is like, everybody knows what love is. But then I actually have to ask myself, what is love? Honestly, let's actually think about this thing. What actually is love? Does love really exist? And especially unconditional love. Does unconditional love actually exist? We believe that God loves us unconditionally, right? Like, no matter what you do, God will still love you and God can forgive you. But then at the same time, God creates hell so that he can punish you for the crimes that you commit. And mind you, this same God knew everything about you. He, like in the Bible, when he says that, I know you before you are formed in your mother's womb, like, that means that God would knew your character, your personality. As a matter of fact, he created you. So he created you, like, he understood that you were going to do those things. So why then does he need to punish you for doing the things, exactly the things that he knew you were going to do? Unless you want to mean that God does not know each of us individually, and that only this verse refers to Jeremiah and not everybody in the world, then that leaves us with so many questions. Unconditional love does not exist. Like, you only go to heaven when you do something good according to God. You obey his laws. That's what we have been taught. So if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. So if you see, that's how God does not love you unconditionally, because if he did love you unconditionally, then there would be no need of a hell. Like, everybody would go to heaven despite of anything that they did, because God loves you. Second one, where I say that that unconditional love does not exist. I know some of us like to believe that our parents love us unconditionally. For me, what I've seen is that most parents love their kids if they behave according to a certain way, or if they turn out a certain way, what they expected of them. But if the kids go to the other direction and become the opposite of what the parents intended them to be, like what their parents had imagined in their mind, then they have this sort of resentment. Now, for everybody is different. Some are just subtly resentful, but are very resentful, and they show it, and they even speak it. They show it verbally, and they show it physically, and they show it emotionally, financially. So it's different for us all, because we're all different. But I believe this applies to most of us in the varied places we all are in, like all across the continents. So then you have to ask, does the parent actually love you unconditionally, or does the parent love you conditionally? Like, when you look about as relationships in terms of spouse or relationships, man and woman, to come and form marriage or whatever these relationships, man and woman, when you look at that type of love, um, it's also not unconditional, it's conditional. I love you if you behave in a certain way. I love you if you are acting in a certain way. But if you go out of my expectations, or if you go out of my belief system, then you become like my enemy, or like I stop loving you. There's there's a rule, like it's conditional. There's nothing like unconditional love. So these are just scenarios to show you that unconditional love actually does not exist. That is like something that society, like especially religion, tries to put it in our brains, that there's something like unconditional love, but in real sense that is all a hoax. So you guys tell me, do you think that unconditional love actually exists? Because for me, I believe that only conditional love exists. Like, I only like you, or I only tolerate you so long as you are doing certain or a couple of things for me, or you're behaving according to the way I expect you to behave, or what I expect you to give me. But loving you like entirely, you as a being, as everything that you are, with all your flaws and everything, that does not exist. You So yeah, guys, so that is just my perspective on if unconditional love exists, because personally for me, I don't believe that unconditional love exists. Maybe your experiences have been different from mine, uh, maybe you view certain situations different from me. So I'd like to hear them in the comments below. Tell me if you think unconditional love actually exists. Other than that, guys, then yeah, have a lovely day. Bye bye.